Welcome to the daily meditation. As always, bring on board a thought that shall inspire the best outcome for the practice ahead. Notice your breathing, whereby you can, without effort, explore the lungs purposely to your advantage, meaning breathe efficiently across the lower, then the mid and upper ribs. As you breathe, aim to make sure that the ribs move firstly across the lower section before those shoulders adjust. As often, the upper ribs begin to move prior to full expansion of the lower. Take quality time in breathing as efficiently as appropriate for the best outcome possible. Now imagine if every cell within your body was to work to its optimum balance. How would you be? Now let's imagine every single thought was to optimize your entire health and well-being. How would you be? And imagine if every thought and action every day in your entire life was to your advantage in every way. What sort of life would you live? Let's aim at this present moment to be so refined in this practice of truth, of the inner self, that you shall purposely accentuate the laws of entrainment in your life in relation to health, well-being, and success and happiness. Now let's say someone else had an opinion about you. Would you accept that opinion just to please that other individual? Or would you verbalize your point of view as you have a person of integrity that wishes to express the best? Very important. Now could you imagine if humanity as a collective were awake and conscious to their pure divine nature? Very important, as this evening's practice is for truth. Imagine if every person you knew did not just speak for the sake of speaking, but spoke for the greater good of the deeper mind by understanding the deeper mind in its purest nature. Imagine that. You would be in heaven. Now let's imagine, as you breathe, that somewhere in the world there's someone that may not agree with you. And you spent your whole life trying to please that individual or others the same. One day when you depart from this world, what life will you see? Truth is a very hard pill to swallow. But one must find truth to find truth. Thus, when we explored breathing, it is essential to breathe correctly, whereby you can purposely allow those shoulders to adjust and those arms to relax, whereby your mind can find inner peace. Now, could you imagine if for the rest of this life you shall be completely at peace and nothing shall ever in any way cause you misalignment? That's very important to understand this, as somewhere, most likely, you will be challenged. Be it by someone tooting you when you're driving, in the fact that perhaps they want to overtake you, or someone disagrees with your perspective on life. Truth is the hard pill to swallow. But yet, without that, one cannot have truth. Now go within and notice how you're communicating to yourself. Very important. For the way your mind is communicating is influencing your life. Let me repeat this. The way your mind is communicating to yourself is how you're living your life. For the next few moments as you work with the breath, imagine you're having dialogue with every day you have ever lived. Right back to the earliest memories, whether you remember it or not, you are having dialogue with yourself. What would you say to yourself? Now imagine if you said to yourself, it's okay. You're its future. It can now let go, as it does not now need to have fear, doubt, uncertainty, pain, limitations, jealousy, envy, as you've come to realize that you shall now live your life with purity of integrity. If so, what future would you expect? If you're living a life of truth, of purpose, and pure integrity. Would it matter if 1 or a million people or persons that lives disagrees with you? For one day you shall find yourself in heaven. And those that disagree with you will not need to be your company then. For one who is in heaven shall be in the company of those that are in heaven. Take a moment as you breathe and notice how you think about yourself and others. Notice how you're breathing and how you think about yourself as a complete being and others. Very important. How you think about yourself. Let's say you were stepping out of your personality and you were to watch how your personality is interacting with others in life. Would you be happy with that? Let's just say now you were to step out of yourself as an observer and watch how you are living your life and interacting with others. Let's just say for at least 24 hours. Would you be happy with what you see? It's very important to step out of your own matrix to see your own way of living. Otherwise, how do you know that you're living truthfully? It's only when you observe from a neutral perspective can you honestly see facts and fiction. Go with it. Truth in the knowing. And remember to breathe towards the low ribs. For if you say you love, then you must be very clear what that means. For often love is selfish. Let me repeat this. If you say you love, then you must know what love is. For often love is selfish. Love is unconditional. Until you can love unconditional, you cannot love. Until you can see with clarity, you cannot see. This planet is designed for souls to have experiences of the lowest virtues and mind construct that exist in the universe. And one day, the mind shall be wise enough to evolve from the human construct. Perhaps then one shall fully understand what it means to be truthful and unconditional and loving, without judgment. Let's say you could go back in your life and observe highlights that triggered specific events in your life today. What would you do? Would you go back and allow that mind to continue, or would you step in and give it guidance? How can you give sight to someone that's not willing to see? How can you share knowledge with someone who has not yet understood what knowledge is? Go within and notice how you treat yourself. Very important. For how you treat yourself shall influence every aspect of your future. Now, step out and observe how you treat yourself as an observer. Then, be frugal, meaning be true to yourself. It is stated that when a human being leaves this world and they review their life, they are their worst critic. For only they can see as to how they live their life. Others can give suggestions, but one has to make their own decisions. Truth is a hard pill to swallow. But until that has been achieved, truth shall not be known. Go within now. Be inspired. Isn't it better if someone corrected you, whether you were comfortable with the correction or not, if that correction was to assist you to become far wiser? A student, a neophyte, a chela, an apprentice of the wise must be prepared to be cleared of all the debris. So the question is, are you ready for the internship that awaits? If you're not already in the internship, that means go within. Find inspiration. Be light, be love. But remember, be truthful and honest to yourself. It's irrelevant what is occurring on the planet, for everything is perfect. If it's not, then there cannot be perfection in the universe. You cannot change how others choose to think, but you can certainly have an impact upon how you think. And in 10 years' time, 2 decades from now, an entire lifetime from now, when you review your participation in this life, will you be comfortable with how you interacted with your mind and actions and inactions? Take a moment and refine your communication skills with yourself. Is your heart working in a manner that is conducive to health, or is it under stress due to how you're thinking? Is your liver clear of fear, or is it still holding on to certain emotions of limitation? Is your digestive system working efficiently, or is it causing you discomfort due to the fact there are certain emotions that's still lingering that needs clarity? And let's say humanity could hear your thoughts. Would they be happy with the way you think? And if you heard your thoughts from the Creator's perspective, would you be happy in how you're influencing all life? Can you love a butterfly yet kill a fly? Very important question. Can you love a butterfly and kill a mosquito? Can you love a garden but pull out the weeds? Very important questions. For often we simply respond without thinking. How would the world be if there were what you consider no weeds, no flies, no mosquitoes? How would the world be? Would you assume it would be a much better world? If you began to understand that everything is perfect. What if you had no bacteria in your gut? Imagine that. If you had no bacteria within your system, imagine that. It is important to have a good balance of gut bacteria for health. Imagine that. Are you very clear of what is important for your health? Or is one still caught in the illusion that is called Maya in yoga, where you have been convinced into taking on board a construct that does not exist? Imagine that. To have been convinced to be in a reality of belief that does not exist. That's called Maya. What if you woke up from that dream? What if you woke up from that dream And you realize that the only limitations that had you limited in life was yourself. Imagine that. What if tonight or the next 24 hours when you choose to go into slumber, you purposely chose to go into a deep sleep and wake up consciously? It would be seen as a miracle from others, as your life would be totally profoundly changed to the greater good of all your own self-worth. That's possible. A miracle is only something that the average human being cannot replicate. Once it can be replicated, it's no longer a miracle. Remember these words: you are a miracle. Given a bag of seeds will do you nothing unless you choose to plant seeds. Remember that. When you were born, you were given specific abilities to develop. And in life, as you're challenged purposely to see how rigid you are, how determined you are. Very important. For unless your cells and your body can cope with different bacteria on this planet Earth, you cannot survive. Remember, your immunity is important. If you're immune compromised, then you will have to live in a bubble. Remember that, as there are certain human beings who are born immune compromised, and they cannot be exposed to anything that is external that could harm them. Be proud of the fact that you're not one of them. And if you have some compromisation, trust that within you you have the omnipotence to restore balance. But first you must be honest with yourself. Truth is a hard pill to swallow. For until this is achieved, truth shan't be known. You can change anything in your life as long as your mind lets go of what's holding on to those limitations. If someone that you know has a point of view that is different to you, well, you respect them. That's their point of view. Why would you go out of your way to try and shut them down? They have a freedom to have a point of view, just as you have your freedom to have your point of view. Now imagine living in a world where everybody respected everyone else. This is called heaven. So the question is heaven on earth? Isn't it interesting how certain individuals assume that their intelligence is brighter than anyone else and they should put their opinion on someone else? So let's say you belong to a particular religion that you are comfortable with. You have a right to express your opinion from your religious perspective without someone else coming on board and giving their point of view from a different religious perspective. If all religions speak of God, a divine being, then all religions should work lovingly, collectively together. But unfortunately, this is not the case. For humanity has yet reached the level of learning where they've realized that the divine is perfect. Perfect. And if one does not see that, then one cannot understand spirituality. Every human being has the right of their own opinion, without judgment, as you have a right to live your life in peace. So go within now and notice how you are affecting your own psychology and physiology. Remember, your life is replicating your deeper mind's accepted belief, and the only person that can change anything in your life is yourself. If you need someone else to change your perspective of life, then you have not yet understood yourself. Do you need someone to tell you what to eat for breakfast? Do you need someone to tell you when to take a shower or bath? Do you need someone to tell you what to wear? Do you need someone to tell you how to speak? Very important, as this meditation is truth of the knowing. So go within now and be truthful to yourself. Why should you want to have others agree with you? Imagine that. Shall you spend your whole life in the hope that others will appreciate who you are? Or shall you spend the rest of this life being the person whom you are? Big difference. Once you know truth, you shan't ever be misled ever again. This is known as realization. Now, could you imagine if you went back to history and you did not have individuals that stood up for the rights of those vulnerable? In every religion, you'll find great martyrs. How were they treated? Were they treated with love and respect, or were they persecuted? Let's go throughout Western history and find the true martyrs. Were they respected, or were they crucified? The sad part of humanity is they say that they wish, but rarely do they act and make it a reality. It's only the very few that stand up. And it is due to those very few that humanity, to some degree, still have connection to a higher force of intelligence known as divine. Look at all the martyrs, all the saints, and look at their lives. You shall find that they stood up for their beliefs and they acted in a loving manner. One never needs to force one's belief on anyone else if one understands truth. Humanity is in the crossroad. And if one does not wake up, then one may never wake up. Be true to yourself, go within, and let the light of wisdom exude through you, whereby the higher forces of divine interaction shall interact with you and give you guidance. Could you imagine refining your subtle senses where divine guidance is with you as your best friend 24 hours a day? Imagine that. This is what one is seeking in illumination, in awakening and realization. Go within. Live your truth. But before you live that truth, be very clear what you consider as truth. Never accept anything without your purposeful intention and your own steps in clarification. Only then can it be your truth, once you've confirmed that your mind acknowledges that you're responsible for your actions. Go within. Be love, be light, not darkness. How often do you hear individuals speak theoretically of love and light, but they're actually projecting darkness? Imagine that. If you could look at humanity as a collective, and you were to hear how humanity treats humanity, would you honestly say that humanity is treating humanity with love and light? Imagine that. Love and light is loving. Let me repeat this. Love in light is unconditional in loving. If it's not, it cannot be love and light. It's a facade. The question is, have you woken up? Are you waking, or are you going into deeper slumber? Very important. Time waits for no individual. One day you shall review your own life. Let me repeat this. One day you shall have the opportunity of reviewing your own life, and you shall review it from your perspective as an observer, not a participant. Then you shall then work out where you need to move that mind to the next birth. Do not fall asleep. Remain awake. And be proud of the fact that you are seeking truth. And you will not be blinded by anyone under any circumstance. And thus, next time you see a mosquito, Remember that mosquito is thinking as a mosquito. It has a purpose, whether you like it or not. And when you see that butterfly, it is a butterfly, it has a purpose. Do you honestly believe the butterfly looks at you and say, wow, that human being loves me because I'm a butterfly? You must remember, once you've understood the divine matrix, you shall see pure light and beauty in everything. Could you imagine killing a butterfly? But yet you can imagine killing a fly. What is the difference from a divine perspective? Could you imagine pulling out a flower rather than the weed? What's the difference? But from human construct, they rationalize it. Remember, one day you'll review your life, and when you review, you won't have what's considered as human rationalization. You will see truth as it is. Very important. Be wise. Be the light, not the darkness. Humanity needs conscious human beings on this planet Earth. Those sound simple. Throughout the generations, very rarely do you find true conscious beings, and they're known as the wise ones. The question is, how shall you be seen in years to come? Shall you be considered as one of the wise ones that existed in the 21st century? You have choice. Be love, be light, be inspired by divine beauty in all life, and let yourself be the channel for the purest light of inspired momentum. And if others do not like it, well, that's their perception. It should not be your concern. If someone does not like being out in sunshine, then why should you limit yourself? Live your truth. But before you find what you want, you must be aware of what is fact and fiction. Remember, love is unconditional. And the question is, do you love yourself unconditionally? Very important. If you love yourself unconditional, then your life shall be an amazing life of internal bliss. Be love, be light. Remember, the future is bright. It's brighter than most could ever imagine. For after the darkest night, the sunrise is not far off. For whatever reason you chose to take birth at this particular timeline in your evolution, trust that it was not wasted, as you're still living, breathing, and hopefully thinking. Think with clarity and intelligence and awaken to the true divine nature, for this meditation is truth in the knowing. And when you drift into slumber, do not fool yourself in ignorance. Seek to be inspired. Thus, when you awaken, you shall awaken with a clearer mind of what is needed for you to be proactive in how you need to live your life, whereby your life shall be a prime example of how a human being lives their life in wisdom, in intelligence, in lateral reasoning, in unconditional love in thought and action. Deepen your breath. Remember, your breath is following your directive. Fill your whole body with love and light, because your body allows you to live at this present moment in human construct, in thought and actions. Awaken your fingers and palms, and when appropriate, place one or both upon your heart. As always, it is your heart. It is following your directive. And now until we continue upon the next practice, remember, your truth can only be truth until it is no longer limited by the personality known as the ego construct in limited beliefs. Be wise. Allow love to flood your mind. Find true inner peace. Be the light of reflection. Always remember, peace is the key.